welcome back for a new episode of SciCast, not your typical medical statcast. I'm Kenneth and I will be your host. This week's episode is made possible by BSE Tree Science of Cavite State University Carmona Campus. And if you are looking for medical awareness statcast, you are in the right track. Stick around if you are interested to know more about antibiotic and antibiotic resistance. Today's episode will be amazing and we'll be having a meaningful conversation for today with our guest. Our first guest is Ivan Christopher Latorre. He is one of the biological science students in Cavite State University Carmona Campus. He took medical seminars about antibiotic awareness and antibiotic resistance at the University of Perpetual Health System GMA campus. We also have our second guest for today. He is Gerald James Bidiala, another science major student from Cavite State University Carmona campus. He is currently now in third year of pursuing his career and he got background experiences in medicine when he took on-the-job training at Hospital ng Binyan, when he was at senior high school and got his certificate in AMA Computer College Binyan campus. Good day for both of you.
Good day! Thank you so much for having us here. So what's our agenda for today?
Well, a lot of people are concerned on the global health issue that we are facing right now, which is the global pandemic or the coronavirus 2019. But even before this, there occurs a serious and potential threat in the near future, which is the antibiotic resistance. Can you tell to our listeners about what this antibiotic resistance is and how they occur?
Well, basically, before we talk about this antibiotic resistance, it's very important for us to know first what is antibiotics, also called as antibacterials, are drugs that kill or slow down the growth of bacteria. They include a variety of powerful drugs that are used to treat bacteria-related illnesses. Antibiotics made many modern treatments possible, including cancer therapy, organ transplant, open heart surgery, in addition to treating infectious diseases. Antibiotics are crucial medications. The benefits of penicillin and other antibiotics in curing bacterial infections, controlling disease transmission, and minimizing serious complications of disease are impossible to overstate. However, several antibiotics that were once widely used to treat bacterial infections are now less effective or ineffective. Antibiotic resistance occurs when an antibiotic no longer has any effect on a particular strain of bacteria. Antibiotic resistance is one of the most serious health issues that we are facing globally today.
Indeed, and that is our main focus on our StatCast. But how about its first use or emergence?
Well, the first antibiotic is Salvarsan, and it was deployed in 1910. And to tell you the history of antibiotics, did you know that antibiotics have revolutionized modern medicine and increased the average human lifespan by 23 years in just over a century? So the modern era of antibiotics started with the discovery of penicillin by Sir Alexander Fleming. Yes, by Sir Alexander Fleming in 1928. And since then, antibiotics have transformed modern medicines and saved millions of lives. How amazing, isn't it? Antibiotics were first prescribed to treat serious infections in the 1940s. So penicillin was successful in controlling bacterial infections among World War II soldiers. However, penicillin resistance became a substantial clinical problem so that by the 1950s, many of the advances of the prior decade were threatened. And since then, a gradual decline in antibiotic discovery and development and the evolution as well of drug resistance in many human pathogens has led to the current antibiotic resistance crisis.
Going back, we have stated that antibiotic resistant earlier, right? So, what really is that term? How it is connected with the antibiotics?
Antibiotic resistance is increasing at an alarming rate around the world. New resistance mechanisms are arising and spreading throughout the world, posing a danger to our ability to treat common infectious diseases. As medicines become less efficient, infections such as pneumonia, tuberculosis, blood poisoning, gonorrhea, and even foodborne diseases are getting more difficult. if not impossible, to treat. Antibiotic resistance is increased when antibiotics may be purchased without prescription for human or animal usage. Antibiotics are also frequently overprescribed by health workers and veterinarians, as well as overused by the general people in nations without conventional treatment recommendations. Antibiotic resistance also occurs when bacteria change in response to the use of these medicines. To be clear, bacteria develop antibiotic resistance, not humans or animals. These bacteria can infect both humans and animals, and their infections are more difficult to treat than non-resistant bacteria. Antibiotic resistance raises medical expenses, lengthens hospital stays, and raises fatality rates.
Yes, and that's the sad part. People often commonly rely and use antibiotics because they thought it is the cheapest remedy that they can afford. What they know is that it will cause them potential problems.
Indeed, people are using antibiotics even without prescription from the doctors, and that is a no-no. Those acts should be helped.
Yeah, and because of that, this kind of potential threats, such as this antimicrobial resistance, occurs. That's why the way antibiotics are prescribed and used in the world has to alter immediately. Antibiotic resistance will continue to be a serious problem even if new medications are developed. Vaccination, hand washing, safer sex, and excellent food hygiene are all examples of behavior modifications that can help prevent the transmission of illnesses. Now that we have the background information regarding the antibiotic and antibiotic resistance, let us proceed to the common myths about antibiotic resistance.
That's right. For our listeners, maybe you have encountered one of these myths, and now we are here to give you explanations and clarifications about them so that you can be more antibiotic aware.
And so, these are the common myths that we have gathered. The first myth is that it's the body that becomes resistant to antibiotics. So, what can you say about it?
Well, basically, that is not the case. Antibiotic resistance is caused by bacteria living within your body, not by you. Bacteria can even pass on the resistance to other bacteria. Antibiotics operate by killing bacterial cells, therefore, your body does not need to be resistant to them. However, there are many bacteria that live on and in your body at all times, most of which are not harmful at all. That could be where this myth came from, right?
Yeah, maybe that's one of the probable reasons for that. At least now, we are enlightened on the truth behind that myth. So, moving on to our second myth we have here. I have never taken antibiotics, so I cannot get a resistant infection. What's your stand about this one?
Let me explain that. While taking antibiotics in the past increases your chances of obtaining an antibiotic-resistant infection. So someone who has never taken antibiotics can get one as well, okay? And around 10% of people have bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. These bacteria-resistant strains can emerge in a variety of ways, including spontaneously, through transfer from person to person, and by taking them up during a visit to the hospital, even if you are only seeing a patient.
Oh, that's crystal clear. We get some statistics there. Now, moving on to our third myth. Microbial resistance, antimicrobial resistance, and antibiotic resistance are the same thing.
You know, this is where the things become a little tricky. It's because the names refer to the same thing but in different ways. Bacteria like fungi, protozoa, and viruses are microbes, right?
Yeah, we have discussed that in one of our subjects.
See? This microbial resistance refers to resistance in any of these microorganisms. Antibiotics, on the other hand, are antimicrobials. They are substances that kill or inhibit the growth of microorganisms. As a result, antimicrobial resistance is defined as a resistance to antimicrobial treatments. Other treatments that wipe out different types of microbe, such as parasites, are also included here. So it's a broader term than antibiotic resistance, which only applies to bacteria and their resistance to antibiotic treatment. Is everything clear now? I hope it's clear for our listeners.
Yes, we do get the point. What a great explanation.
Oh, thank you. Now, to simply describe, microbial resistance is a trait that microorganisms such as bacteria exhibit. Microbes that are resistant to antibiotics are known as antimicrobial resistance. Antibiotic resistance is a term that refers to bacterial resistance to antibiotics.
Oh, we have discussed already 3 myths and there are more myths to go. So far, how is it going for our listeners?
We have more myths to discuss, and I think our listeners can relate to the upcoming myths. How about you guys? Can you relate with these myths? Because I basically can relate to some of these misconceptions of antibiotics, and later on, I'll share it to you guys.
Oh, what kind of experience that I wonder? For our listeners, stay tuned so that you can also find it out, and I think that one is very relatable.
Yeah, you're right, Kenneth. A lot of you can relate here, especially teenagers like us. So stay tuned.
Okay, so while waiting for that, let's have our fourth myth, and that is antibiotics treat all types of infection.
To explain that, antibiotics are only effective when used to treat bacterial illnesses. Other infections such as those caused by viruses or fungus are resistant to antibiotic treatment. This is why most coughs and colds, the flu, athlete's foot, thrush, and other variety of other illnesses are not treated with antibiotics.
Now, for our fifth myth, antibiotics are the cure for the common cold and flu.
Well, what I can say there is that it's not true. Antibiotics are only active against bacteria. The common cold and flu are caused by viruses against which antibiotics have absolutely no effect. And the more common antibiotics we use, the more resistant bacteria will be selected out and will increase in number. The overuse and misuse of antibiotics for viral infection is one of the single biggest drivers of the increase in antibiotic resistance worldwide. The only result of taking an antibiotic for a cold is first is to do yourself a harm through unwanted side effects of the antibiotic, and do your family, friends, and society harm by increasing antibiotic resistance. You know, the majority of respondents across 12 countries surveyed by WHO or World Health Organization incorrectly believe that viruses such as colds and flu 60% can be treated with antibiotics. Nearly 70% of 1,002 South African respondents share this misconception, which often relates into pressure put on doctors and nurses by patients to prescribe an antibiotic when they feel ill. Overall, reported antibiotic use was higher in the lower income countries included in the survey, where 42% of the people say that they use antibiotics within the past month compared with 29% of people surveyed in higher countries.
Oh, we get another statistic from World Health Organization there, so that's quite interesting. Now, how about the sixth myth? If I feel better, I can stop my antibiotics.
That is false, but there is caveat. It clearly depends on whether you are taking the antibiotic for a bacterial infection or incorrectly for, say, a viral infection. If this is the case, then the shorter the time you are on an antibiotic, the better. But if you have a bacterial infection that needs treating with an antibiotic, then it is vital that you take the course as prescribed. Our symptoms commonly improve before all the bacteria are killed and dealt with by the body. If you stop your antibiotics early or if you miss doses, then the amount of antibiotic available to kill the bacteria is not enough, and the bacteria is still able to replicate. It is easier for bacteria to become resistant if there is too little antibiotic present. So always complete your course and don't stop just because you feel better, okay?
Yeah, I think I do agree with you. That's one of the basic things that we can do to halt antibiotic resistance. Now, for our seventh myth, I can take leftovers or some from family or friends.
Well, that is a false statement, and we shouldn't do that. You know that's so dangerous, right? Oh, to be clear for our listeners, the leftover that we are pertaining here are leftover medicines. Never take antibiotics that are left over from past treatments or given by family or friends. Only take antibiotics prescribed from the doctors or nurse. Well, I'm a bit guilty with this one. There are two good reasons for this. Antibiotics past their date or are more likely to cause a resistance as active ingredient may be impaired. And antibiotics from the other people may not be the correct choice. There are many different types of antibiotics used to treat different infections, which means that your infection will not be treated correctly, also increasing the chance that bacteria can become resistant. The experience that I stated a while ago that I will be sharing for our listeners and to you guys is under this myth. Well, not totally myth, but it's an act that everyone should stop. Now, the thing here is that have you ever been so conscious of your body, your face particularly when you're having an acne? I guess this is so common to us teenagers. So my experience is basically using an antibiotic that wasn't prescribed by the doctor. I just saw it from the random reviews on FB and YouTube. Have you ever seen that? The clindamycin?
Oh yeah, I know that. I also saw that a year ago in the same social media platform.
So basically I started to be conscious of my acne, so I searched for skincare or skincare routine or products, and then I came across with this review. This antibiotic saying that it's very effective for curing it.
So, have you tried it? How is it?
Yeah, I did try it. Actually, it's not just me. I am accompanied by my friend, Krisnel. Oh, hi there, Krisnel, if you are listening to this podcast. So yeah, we did try to buy it from the pharmacy. At first, it was okay, but as the product stated, we experienced the side effects of it. And then, we have to stop using it because we have this kind of side effect. Of course, who wouldn't, right?
Yeah, basically, I will also stop using it if I were the both of you.
And then upon researching it and watching reviews about it, I came across with this medical article and several videos that in some parts, people are not allowed to buy it if they don't have any prescriptions from the doctor. And then I have read an article about this antibiotic resistance and I felt so scared that time. I'm glad that it's not too long that we have been using that product. So my point here is that first, we shouldn't self-medicate. Always try to talk with medical professionals or doctors or those who are experts before using such products. Second, it's normal to be conscious of our body, but we should remember that not all products will work or will have the same effects for everyone. We should always ask for medical assistance and avoid using products such as this antibiotic, especially if it's not prescribed for you. Who knows? Who knows what may happen to you? And also, it increases the rate of antibiotic resistance. So, I hope you learn from those experiences.
That is a serious thing. I do agree, especially when you say that we are becoming more conscious of ourselves, especially those that are in the puberty stage. Please do remember on the advices of Gerald for us. And I want to add the last myth, which is it's the medical profession fault. It is fair to say that the medical profession has failed the general public. We need to do a lot more to educate and raise public awareness around the problem of antibiotic resistance and the appropriate use of antibiotics. But the difficult truth is that we are all in this together. The pressure on doctors and nurses to prescribe antibiotics from the public can be intense. Good practice is often undermined by uncertainty either due to lack of knowledge and or lack of point-of-care diagnostics. Patient pressure to prescribe compounds the problem. The bottom line is that we are all responsible for our future. Antibiotics are a global common good. They belong to everyone, so what one person does affects the next one. It's time we all became antibiotic guardians, so to retard the relentless rise of bacterial resistance through correcting inappropriate use of this vital resource. Now, we are in the third part of our studcast in which we will be talking about the harmful effects or misuse of these antibiotics. Now, antibiotics which have transformed medicine and saved millions of lives are under threat due to a fast rise of resistant bacteria around the world. bacterial infections have become a hazard again, decades after the first patients were treated with antibiotics. Antibiotic resistance is still a global public health issue today. The number of bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics is increasing. The danger of antibiotic resistance is that treatable illnesses such as pneumonia, tuberculosis, or minor infections could become incurable. This would put a greater economic and emotional burden on families and on our healthcare system. Now, let's take a look on the possible and alarming threats that this antibiotic resistance can bring in the humanity.
Okay, so let me start this discussion. First of all, the antibiotic resistance threatens our ability to cure common infectious diseases such as pneumonia, tuberculosis, and gonorrhea. In fact, antibiotic effectiveness declines as time goes on, so even common infectious diseases that can be easily dealt with in the past is getting harder to treat. So that's why people are suffering from common illnesses because they develop antibiotic resistance.
That's basically correct. It also increases human illness, suffering, and death. Antibiotics are beginning to fail. Every year, resistant bacteria kill more than 750,000 people. If no drastic measures are taken, this number is expected to rise. Antibiotic resistance has emerged as one of the world's greatest threats to global health.
I also want to add this one aside from what you have stated. It increased cost and length of treatment. Increased antibiotic resistance leads to elevated costs associated with using more expensive antibiotic in stronger potencies or even simply larger doses in order to combat the stronger or more resistant bacteria. Due to antibiotic resistance, the treatment or medications of patients are prolonged because their diseases aren't totally being cured and instead it ended up into longer treatments to cure their illness. When infections can no longer be treated by first-line antibiotics, more expensive medicines must be used. A longer durations of illness and treatment, often in hospitals, increases healthcare costs as well as the economic burden on families and societies.
You got a point there, Kenneth. It's also one of the possible harms of antibiotic resistance. It also increased the side effects from the use of multiple and more powerful medications. You know, it goes something like this. When bacteria became resistant, the original antibiotic can no longer kill them. These germs can grow and spread. They can cause infections that are hard to treat. Sometimes they can even spread the resistance to other bacteria that they meet.
Now, that one is basically a threat. And speaking of threat, antibiotic resistance threatens to undermine major medical advances such as surgeries, treatment of cancer patients, and care of preterm babies. This antibiotic resistance is indeed threat to our medical advances because the success of modernized medicine such as organ transplantation, cancer therapy, management of preterm babies, cardiac surgery, joint replacements, or even a surplus advanced major surgeries might not have been possible without effective antibiotic treatment to control, treated, and prevented bacterial infections. For example, antibiotic resistance kills 214,000 newborns are estimated to die every year from blood infections, or we can call this sepsis, and it is caused by a resistant bacteria. And it represents at least 30% of all sepsis deaths in newborns.
Talking so much about the threats of antibiotic resistance, and you may wonder who are the people at risk in this kind of alarming health condition. Can you tell us who are those people that are involved or can be at risk?
Sure. Ideally, some people may think that only those who are misusing the antibiotics are at risk. But there are more to that, right, Ivan?
Yes, in fact, antibiotic resistance can affect anyone of any age in any country.
And that anyone can be the medical frontliners or medical personnel such as physicians, nurses, veterinarians, or those people who have occupations that put them at a greater risk for exposure to bacteria infections or infectious disease. or people in healthcare facilities and daycare centers, or other settings where infections can easily spread, especially if infection prevention and control measures are not followed.
And to add infants, especially premature babies, as they may not have strong immune systems. Seniors, particularly those living in long-term care facilities or senior residents. Says.
Maybe we could also consider people who are homeless or living in crowded or unhygienic conditions where it is easy to contract infections.
Yes, that is also correct. And you know what, Kenneth? Since we've been talking a lot about this global threat, how about we help our listeners to be informed the things that we can do to prevent or help this antibiotic resistance?
Oh yeah, sure. That is the primary goal of our Steadcast for today. To inform our listeners not only about the antibiotic resistance but also on the things that they can do to prevent or stop this from further spreading.
Now, even if you're just an ordinary citizen, like if you're just a student, you can do a lot of things for antibiotic resistance prevention. To prevent and control the spread of antibiotic resistance, individuals should remember these things. Antibiotics should only be used if a doctor has recommended them. If your doctor says you don't need antibiotics, don't take them. When taking antibiotics, always listen to your doctor's advice. Never share or utilize antibiotics that have been left over. Wash your hands frequently, prepare meals hygienically, avoid close contact with sick, practice safe sex, and maintain your vaccines up to date to avoid infections. Prepare food hygienically following the WHO 5 keys to safer food. Keep clean, separate raw and cook. Cook thoroughly, keep food at safe temperatures, use safe water and raw materials, and choose foods that have been produced without the use of antibiotics for growth promotion or disease prevention in healthy animals.
Since Yara will take the point of view of individuals, why not we take a look on the things that those people with authority or positions can do? To prevent and control the spread of antibiotic resistance, policymakers can first ascertain the existence of a comprehensive national action strategy to combat antibiotic resistance. Second, antibiotic-resistant infections should be better monitored. Third, infection prevention and control policies, programs, and implementation should be strengthened. Fourth, regulate and promote the proper use and disposal of high-quality pharmaceuticals. And lastly, make information on the impact of antibiotic resistance available.
It's also important to know that since medical personnel are the one having contact with patients and are vulnerable of these microbes, they can also do safety precautions or preventions to prevent and control the spread of antibiotic resistance. So healthcare professionals should also remember these things. Antibiotic resistance can be prevented and controlled by using the following strategies. Keeping your hands, instruments, and surroundings clean will help you from getting sick. According to current standards, only prescribe and dispense antibiotics when absolutely necessary. Surveillance teams should also be notified about antibiotic-resistant illnesses. Talk to your patients about the proper use of antibiotics, antibiotic resistance, and the risk of misusing them. And also, discuss the importance of infection prevention with your patients. So for example, vaccination, hand washing, safer sex, and covering nose and mouth when sneezing.
And lastly, for the health industry, they can prevent and control the spread of antibiotic resistance through investing in the development of new antibiotics, vaccines, diagnostics, and other instruments through research and development.
To sum it up, antibiotics are currently a scarce resource. There are fewer effective antibiotics available for some healthcare-associated diseases than there were a decade ago. And antibiotic resistance is a real threat. Antibiotic resistance is a complicated and ever-changing issue. During the last 70 years, a significant amount of data about antibiotic resistance and its spread has been accumulated. And that's it! Thanks for joining me for this episode of SciCast. We hope that you learned from our topic on today's episode. And if you want to know more about Medical Steadcast, make sure to follow us on our Steadcast community. That's at SciCast.medical. And follow us in your favorite Steadcast app so that you don't miss our next episode. I'm Kenneth, wishing you happy Steadcasting.